Oh my gosh. What's that weird noise? Nobody knows. I think it was my throat. I think my throat made a weird noise. I think it made a weird noise. All right. Third time today. Third. 3 times. I mixed the word third and three. That might happen a little bit tonight. You never know. All right. We're going to get right into it. We won't do too much of a preamble here. If you're joining me live, don't feel like you have to. Just save this one and watch it whenever. It's just a live stream just because. I'm going to be watching this movie one way or the other. If you're joining us, this is Back to the Future 3 here. I'm going to play the music again just because. Dun, 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 dun. Hey! All right. So what we're going to do here is a weird live commentary track of Back to the Future 3. And the only reason I do this is because I went to the Alamo Drafthouse this week. On Wednesday of this week, I went to see Back to the Future Part 2, and it was delightful. I'll tell you, the visuals didn't jump out to me as like, hey, I needed to see this on a big screen. And when I was there, nothing jumped out to me as being spectacular. But the score, the Alan Silvestri score, just, it really, really came to life inside of a theater. And Back to the Future 2 came out in 1989. So I definitely did not see that in theaters when it came out. So what happened was Alamo Drafthouse shut the F down. That's right. We're going to show this on screen 3 times in one day. How did we get so lucky? And there's Escobar again. All right, you guys, don't feel, that's what I was saying at the top. Don't feel like you have to stay. Save this, watch it another time. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you're as chronically lonely as me, outstanding. Hang with me. I love you to pieces. But don't feel like you have to. I'm weird about that. I've got low self-esteem. So thanks for hanging out, though. Hey, Steve, what's up? 3 times in one day. Love you, cats. All right. So I saw Part 2 on Wednesday at the Alamo Drafthouse, and then Thursday they shut down. I already have tickets for Part 3 that's supposed to air next Wednesday. So I don't know if Alamo Drafthouse corporate, Big Alamo, who I think is owned by like some Altamont venture capitalist people. My buddy Nathan Humanstein, if you're on Twitter, follow at Humanstein. He's very, very smart, much, much smarter than I am. So he's been cluing me in on like who legitimately owns the company and what their motivations potentially might be. But either way, I don't know that it's going to be open again by next Wednesday to watch Back to the Future 3. So I am just going to watch it tonight. I was like, hey, I'm probably going to watch it tonight either way. And I could use viewership hours on that YouTube channel if I'm actually going to do that thing. I ordered a green screen earlier too, so that'll be fun. I don't know what I'll do with it. Right now, I'm just using like the hacky, just background image method, but we'll do some fun stuff. I don't know what. But either way, I'm going to count down. We'll talk about Back to the Future 3. I have had a margarita, so I apologize if I slur my speech just a tiny little bit. I assure you it's just because it's Friday night. It's not because I'm being unprofessional in any way, shape, or form. I respect this art form a great deal. I've never been under the influence of alcohol for a bulk of a show. I've done a little bit of drinking at like the 1 p.m. hour when I was on the Ben and Skin show. So like that last hour, you know, maybe grab a drink or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. So I apologize if I slur my speech. This is a little new for me as well, too. David Martin in the house. Look at this. I'm going to show every comment tonight because I don't care. Tipsy Steve, let's go. That's right. I got another one here. It's a Gloria's Margarita. So what I found, I'm going to start the movie in a second. All right, starting the movie, and then I'll talk. That way I don't burn too much time. Back to the Future Part 3 is starting in Part 3, Part 2, Part 1. All right, it's starting. Okay, beautiful. Oh, beautiful Universal logo on the screen there. Delightful stuff. And this is like the old school Universal logo where you can tell it's like treated all 70s. Perfect. So yeah, I don't like the new Universal logo. Actually, I take it back. I like the new Universal logo just fine. But that old treated one, like the one that's in front of Jaws or the one that's in front of like good old movies like this, Can't beat it. All right. So, like I said, I saw part 2 on Wednesday. In preparation for part 2, I had to watch part 1. All right off the top, Steven Spielberg presents the Doc Brown scene in A Million Ways to Die in the Old West is awesome. All right. So I've heard about this. Apparently they like stumble into a cave at some point in Doc Brown. All right, Saturday, November 12th, 1955, 10:03 p.m. So I forget it starts back on the lightning storm again. Um, but yeah, so I think they like stumble into a cave or something like that during the what's it called? During the Million Ways to Die in the West, and Doc Brown's like working on the time machine or the DeLorean inside of the cave or something. So I have not seen that one. I hear it's a good little Seth MacFarlane piece. Is Liam Neeson in that? David Martin, you seem to be active here. Is Liam Neeson in that one as well? I know he's in the Ted series, but I don't know if he's in that particular one there. Let's see, where's my volume on Amazon specifically? There we go. So I am watching this on Amazon Prime here. So part 3, they kick up. It was a barn, and yes, quick question: when can we get a post smokeout session video of you ranking snacks, movies, or music? I would say. So I did qualify earlier that yeah, I mean, I've never been under the influence of any alcohol during any broadcast. I'm pretty much constantly under the influence of other substances, though. I do have a weird medical condition known as epilepsy. So I take a lot of epilepsy pills. And funnily enough, epilepsy is one of the few medical conditions where it's just like, no matter what, you're allowed to do herb as much as you want. So even in Texas, I am allowed to legally qualify for THC gummies and stuff like that. So I'm pretty much always on some kind of something, just to make sure my brain stays normal. So let's see here. Escobar. So yeah, Charlize Theron puts a flower in his arse. Beautiful. Said, I'm just going to show as many comments as I can tonight. It's a Friday night. Oh, Back to the Future Part 3. I can't show any of the screen, but it's brilliant. So again, they start on that lightning storm again. Part 1 ends with the lightning storm. Part 2 ends with the lightning storm, but then Marty gets that letter at the end from Joe Flaherty, the guy who's in Happy Gilmore and calls Happy an asshole all the time. Yeah, asshole. I'm pretty, or jackass. Sorry, jackass. I apologize. It's been a little bit. He calls him a jackass over and over again. So now, sorry, let me take a step back. All right, we're on Back to the Future 3. It's a very somber opening far more somber than the other installments in the franchise. Part 1 definitely opens with Marty shooting up the big amp. I'm trying to remember what part 2 exactly opens with. Oh yeah, sorry. Part 2 opens with a shot-for-shot remake of Part 1, where they had replaced Claudia Wells, the actor in the original one, with Elizabeth Shue. And so they do that shot-for-shot remake, and then Doc flies back in, and they put them all in there, and they do the roads where we're going. We don't need roads. So that's how the last 2 have opened. This one, very different. We're in 1955 right now. Somber opening. We see the old brown mansion long before it had burned down. We see a title credit here for Double Back, written and performed by ZZ Top. Beautiful. I'm just going to put this comment back up. So yeah, I will rank snacks at any point in time. I'll happily do snacks right now. Let's see. Because yeah, I've certainly engaged in some herbiture today. My number one snack, honestly, is nachos. I'm going to be 100% honest. Or chips and queso. I know it's basic, but it's salty and it's delicious. Oh, Protege Speed from Illinois. Look at this. Like I said, every comment gets up tonight because I don't care. Thank you for the hours tonight. It's a Friday night. It's my dinner and a movie kind of thing. So I ordered nachos tonight. I absolutely love good fajita nachos that are like individually prepared. And I don't mean like in a fancy way, just like any Mexican restaurant you go to, if you order, let's see, next comment. I'm not even going to look. Oh, there's another Steve from Illinois. If you go to a Mexican restaurant and you order typically, or sorry, Tex-Mex, what have you, the like appetizer nachos or something like that, and it's a fajita nacho, oh, it's going to have a thick tortilla chip. It's going to have a good black bean spread on it or some kind of bean spread. Then there's going to be a delicious fajita chicken or fajita steak. and then some a delightful cheese on top. You never know what kind of cheese. It varies depending on where you go. But that's my favorite snack that's like a dinner as well. In terms of just snacks you can grab at a 7-Eleven, something like that. It's tough to beat the cheddar and sour cream ruffles. They smell awful. One of the worst smells you can ever imagine out there. There we go. Nachos are so good. Like I said, every comment's going to make it on the board. So sour cream and cheddar, cheddar and sour cream, I think is what they're called. Delightful for a chip. I haven't had them in a while, but they're really dang solid. Let's see here. Nachos are very high on the best food list. Exactly. They travel well too. You'd be amazed. So you order those appetizer portions for yourself there. How many watch hours until you level up? I think I'm at like 400 something, 420. Funnily enough, I swear that's not a joke. Let me check real quick on my phone. I'll pull it up because I don't care. It's a Friday night, and this is like my third broadcast of the day. So this one's a little behind. Let me go to my earned section. 442 public watch hours. And I've been pretty plateaued at 395 subscribers, which makes sense. I was only on the air for 8 months. I don't promote myself very well. I played a character known as like the Light Farms Giant for several years when it was a 97.1 The Eagle show, the Ben and Skin show prior to switching over to the Freak. And then I did the Saturday Sports and such. And the reason I don't promote myself a ton is because during the entirety of all this, I have had another job that actually pays a living wage. And I mean, that is no disrespect to iHeart or the opportunities that were given to me, but that's one reason it's been tough for me to lean in full time on the this is what I do and this is how I promote myself, because it's tough to just promote all the time in that realm if you've got to maintain other employment. So until I get there, I got to kind of like dip my toe in both halves here. All right, on to the movie. It seems like Marty is showing 1955 Doc the new letter. So remember at the end of one, so Back to the Future 1, which has no 1 on the end of it. It's just Back to the Future. Doc sends Marty back. He sends him back to the future. And then at the end of 2, I think, the original Marty from 1, it still goes back to the future. But then there's a new Marty that's back from the future. And then that freaks old Doc out at the end there, and then he passes out. Can you still use your bits you're made for Ben and Skin? Absolutely. Nobody owns anything I did. In fact, I've never charged for anything I've ever done. You'll get me very honest tonight because I've had a couple. No, I just made songs for free for years. So I own the publishing on everything. Nobody's ever beholden me to a contract. When the station flipped formats, I was never under any contract or agreement at all. So they don't own any of my personal intellectual property in terms of music or anything like that. But that being said, I love Ben and Skin and KT and Christina, so they're free to use whatever they want at any point in time. And if they ever ask for anything again, I'm happy to provide it. So no issue there at all. So I think I'm still free to use it, just as they're still free to use it. It's totally fine. I don't think iHeart, the corporation, has any idea what I've ever created for them. To them, it's just a random audio asset, so they don't care. Sorry if my mic just buzzed. All right, so we are still on the letter reading. So like I said, at the very end of part 2, Joe Flaherty, the guy who says jackass a bunch in Happy Gilmore, Kavanaugh said he couldn't use this Kavanaugh song anymore. Yeah, see, all those people, so again, they all were legitimately employed and signed contracts and stuff. I was never legitimately employed. I was like a weird part-time freelance contractor. And again, you'll get me very honest tonight. I don't care. It's my third broadcast of the day. And that's just the nature of the business. I was more than happy to take it on in that respect. I was like, I'm more than happy to be a third-party contractor to you all. I don't need benefits because I'm gainfully employed in another industry. I've got, and so is my wife. So if I'm able to get benefits there, no, I don't need to be a full-time employee with iHeart. If you'll put me on the air, outstanding. I love contributing to this show, and I love what you all do. Oh, they just blasted with dynamite. So clearly, Doc told him that they had the DeLorean buried somewhere, and so they had to go blast it out. So they're at an old cemetery here. Do you have pets? And R.I.P. Joe Flaherty. Absolutely, I have pets, and absolutely R.I.P. Joe Flaherty. And back to the Kavanaugh thing, real quick. As far as I know, I can use anything I want. Like I said, I wrote the songs. I own the publishing. So they can come after me as much as they want. The Kavanaugh song, I'll talk to Jeff about that. Potentially, maybe they couldn't in some way, shape, or form. But no, if I wrote it, I'm free to use it forever in perpetuity. They don't own my publishing at all. No one does, other than me. So that's the thing. I was in a publishing agreement about 10 years ago, and that publishing agreement lasted 7 years. Or sorry, it was 12 years ago. So I have been independently published for 5 years. I own all my publishing. All right, moving on. Do you have pets? Hell effing yes. I have got a little pug named Liz Lemon. She's probably my favorite, and I hate to play favorites. She's a little darling. She's a pug. She hangs out with me all the time. I don't know how much she weighs. She seems plump. Ooh, there's the DeLorean all covered up inside of this old well or inside of this old cave. She's the greatest thing on earth. She sheds like crazy. She's a terrible dog. She's almost 2 years old, and she still goes to the bathroom in the house all the time. It's quite annoying. And then I've got a good dog who's a rescue, and her name is Patty Mayonnaise because I love the TV show Doug growing up, and so does my wife. Sorry, did you ever watch Family Guy when they did this kid about Doug being racist? Let's start playing all the songs tonight. Let's jam. No, I will say I have not watched near as much. Oh, there's another pug parent there. All right. Yeah, my pug's name, I said, both my dogs are girls right now. I've got Patty Mayonnaise and Liz Lemon. Patty Mayonnaise is like a big rescue dog who they told me was a pug chihuahua mix, and it was not. It is like a big Labrador mix or something. So she's giant and she's crazy and clumsy, but she's sweet as all get out. And then, yeah, my little pug, Liz Lemon, she hangs out with me all the time. She's probably right outside the door here, scratching, waiting for me to come out because she's very clingy. All right, so back to the Family Guy thing. Did you ever watch Family Guy when they did a skit about Doc being racist? No, I did not. I will say this is weird, and this is something that I probably need to go back and correct. Is so I grew up being such a Simpsons cat. When Family Guy came on, I was a little threatened. It was a different style. It seemed so tangential at the time, where it just seemed like they would just grab random things and go on tangents for comedy, versus like The Simpsons at the time, which would rely more on story. So, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with tangential comedy versus story-based comedy that all ties together. However, Family Guy is absolutely hilarious. Anytime I see clips from it, anytime I sit down and watch an episode, I end up laughing a very, very great deal. So I don't know that particular bit you're talking about there, where Doc is racist, but I would imagine they did a pretty decent job with it. And Doc, let's see if Doc's racist. Let me try to go through and analyze Doc's actions throughout the years. Let's see. I'm going to play some audio.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. This is the best. Yeah, I already lost my train of thought, so I'm going to go back over to Back to the Future 3. They're looking up Buford Mad Dog Tannen, and going through the old history. I think Marty's already met his brother, not brother, but like great grandfather Seamus or whatever. Sorry, that's right. I was going to go back and analyze Doc. Doc tells Marty his future daughter marries a black guy, and they have to stop it. Okay, well, that's not fair. Doc is from a time where I could certainly see where those might be his beliefs, but he's a man of science. that he's a man of evolution. I don't know that he's a conservative at heart. So, I think more the read on it now. I think more the read on it in 2024 is that you don't know if Doc and Marty have like a weird, not necessarily like hookup relationship, but is it a father son thing or is it like a mentor mentee thing? Because it doesn't seem like Doc is really mentoring Marty to become a better all around human. Doesn't seem like he's mentoring him to become a better scientist by any means. I mean, if anything, he's having to dumb down the science quite a bit for Marty. He has to draw pictures on whiteboards and stuff like that. So, you know, I think Marty sees Doc more as a dad. I don't know what Doc sees in Marty other than somebody that is his buddy or he can use from a character standpoint. That's the tricky part. Is like I understand what Marty's motivation is to hang out with Doc. He's got a giant fucking amp in the first one. Second one, he has to hang out with him because he drags him to the future. Oh, and this is tough actually. So in the second one, Doc drags Marty to the future. Right in the butt. This is the best. That's right. I'm going to show that for quite a while. So yeah, when Doc takes Marty to the future and he shows him his life, and he's got a wife and a couple kids, and he didn't make it as a musician, really stings, you know? It's like, and they frame that as like the definition of a loser. You're like, well, you know, making it in music is hard, and sometimes not everybody's pursuing it to be Taylor Swift necessarily. And yeah, Marty does get fired. I guess but he still got to work with Flea. That's the thing. Oh, there goes the dog. Apologies if the dog barks there. I'll mute out for a second. But yeah, so he got to work with Flea. That's the thing. Like, I don't think Marty felt like a loser to me in the second one. It seemed like he was able to afford his own home. He had a wife who might have been running around on him. That happens. He had kids. He had an upside down grandfather who the actor sued the production. And then he had that kid who would walk in and watch like 9 different screens at once. Bill and Ted had a way better future than Marty. So is the future one Excellent Adventure? Because Bogus, they go to hell. Is Excellent Adventure where they go to the future? Help me out there, Rodeo MT52. I have not revisited a Bill and Ted in ages. Like, I definitely watched them in the 90s when I was a young cat, but I never like owned them on VHS. So, you know, like if you own a film on VHS, you know it inside and out. Marty's driving back and about to go through the screen with the Native Americans right now. He's dressed like Gene Autry or some crap in a pink cowboy outfit. There goes the DeLorean. Here he goes at the drive-in. There goes the sparks. Whoop, whoop. I noticed they don't do the ice in this one, I don't think. I'll see when they go through right here, but I don't think they ice up the car anymore. They ice it in number 1. Let's wait for the exterior. Okay, yeah, no ice. Oh, a little dusting. I take it back. There's a light. No ice at all, barely. No way. Yeah, so for some reason, Marty drives right through this screen and drives into a pack of what I'll call Native Americans, indigenous peoples that are in a tribe fashion. They seem to all be wearing headdresses of some sort here, and they are driving after Marty in his DeLorean. Had to be a trip for the Native Americans that day when they saw the DeLorean. 1 to the future, 2 to hell, 3 everywhere. Okay, so that's what it is in Bill and Ted's. There's 3 Bill and Ted's? Is that true? I knew there was Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey. Is that it? Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey? I did not know there was a. Okay, no, I take that back. I kind of do remember them doing a reboot in the 2010s at some point now. I forget the name of that guy, Alex something. Obviously, I know Keanu's name. I forget the Alex guy's name. I apologize. I feel bad. All right. So Marty just jumped it over a little barn there, or sorry, a little ridge and backed in to a cave. All right. They filmed this in Arizona, by the way. Amazon gives me some nice little trivia when I hover over it. So yeah, they filmed this particular section where Marty's in the cave. in Arizona. And so after he gets in this cave, then the cavalry comes through. 1885, I guess we've had a cavalry for 100 years. I was never in the military. What's a cavalry? Is that just people on horseback? Is that all that means? Alex Winter. Thank you, David Martin. I was like, I didn't want to say Alex Garland. I'm like, Alex Garland's the guy who directed Civil War and directed some other stuff. Actually, let's look that up right now. Let's just go on a tangent. That's thing. I'll go super talent or super tangent here, not super talent. If anything, this is the opposite of super talented. So Alex Garland definitely directed. I'm just going to go directing. It looks like he's got some writer's credits otherwise. So Civil War directed that. I have still not seen it. I don't know if it's. I mean, I think it's out of theaters now, and I feel bad that I didn't catch it. It's hard to go to the theater every single damn week. If you caught my live stream earlier, you kind of heard this a little bit. Like, I did see If in theaters. I saw the Planet of the Apes movies in theaters. I didn't see Fall Guy in theaters because it was freaking out of theaters in 17 days. I was back at the theater yesterday for repertory stuff, or sorry, 2 days ago for Back to the Future. Oh, there goes Marty tumbling down this hill. Okay, so he hasn't gone back to the Old West to meet Leah Thompson and Seamus and all that stuff. Sorry, we're getting to that point. There's Seamus right there. All right, back to Alex Garland. Alex Garland directed Civil War, which I know has Nick Offerman and Kirsten Dunst and her husband, dude, whose name escapes me right now. He also directed Men, Devs, Annihilation, and Ex Machina back in 2014. I need to revisit that one. I feel like I saw it in 2014 and didn't appreciate it enough at the time. What else has this guy written, though? It seems like he writes a bunch of stuff. Alex Garland. Okay. No, not a ton of stuff. Did some novels. He wrote 28 Days Later and The Beach, the novel for The Beach back in 2000. I think The Beach has Leonardo DiCaprio. I did not see it. Okay, there's Leah Thompson back in old 1885 times. Alex Winter was also in Lost Boys. Tell me about the Lost Boys. That was something that everyone saw when I was a kid. I don't think I ever watched it. So is it a Peter Pan spinoff? Is it just the Lost Boys who hang out and they're like waiting for Pan to come back? Or are they trying to get out of Neverland? Help me out there, Rodeo MT52. What is the plot of Lost Boys? Because I saw Hook a bunch as a kid. What year was Hook? 91? Let's go into it. Hook, IMDb. Also a Spielberg. We're on a Steven Spielberg Presents right here. So Robert Zemeckis directed all the Back to the Future movies, but it was presented by Steven Spielberg, unlike Hook, which was directed by Steven Spielberg. 3 writers on Hook. J.M. Barrie, James V. Hart, and Nick Castle. Starred Dustin Hoffman. Incredible performances, Hook. I think the movie may not hold up. I have not watched it in ages. It just used to get shoved in front of my face. 28 Days Later, worst sequel ever. Didn't even have Sandra Bullock in it. That's a good joke. Because it's 28 Days, the rehab movie. Steve, who all's in? I'll go to the Sandra movie in a minute because I love some Sandy. Wasn't Lost Boys a teen vampire movie? Okay, it was a vampire movie. That's the thing. I heard the words Lost Boys and I always thought it was a Peter Pan movie. That's why I need y'all's help. Like, I knew people were in it, but I never knew what Lost Boys was. So, all right, I'll look up Lost Boys and let me look up 28 Days, the original, here in a minute after I get through Hook. All right, Marty's drinking some dirty water right now in Back to the Future 3 and eating some rabbit that I think has bullet pellets in it. So, yeah, Hook. This is back when if you put a cell phone in the dad's hands, he had to be a workaholic asshole, which makes sense. It's fine. I have no issue with that. But that one I watched a ton as a kid because it had the same guy who was in What About Bob, the younger kid who later went on to be in Can't Hardly Wait. I forget that young actor's name, but he played Jack, the young kid. And I identified a lot with Jack because my old man was a lawyer too. And that doesn't mean my old man was a workaholic a-hole. He probably did work a lot. But I remember, I just remember thinking that that kid, felt like his dad was so evil, but he couldn't see that Captain Hook was by far the most evil man of all. He's Captain Hook. I mean, had nobody ever read him the book? I mean, I don't care if your dad's an attorney. Attorneys are bad, but they're not Captain Hook. Captain Hook has a hook for a hand. You know you have to be evil when you have a hook for a hand. So the Lost Boys has the two Coreys and Kiefer Sutherland. That's right. I always knew it had the two Coreys in it. That's why I guess I thought it was a bunch of lost boys. Maybe they are vampires. I don't know. So I do remember in Hook, Smee was played by Bob Hoskins, the same guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that character cracked me up a bunch because I recall a big baseball game, and I think Smee was either the pitcher or the catcher. Sorry, Marty's on some train tracks now wearing his Nikes. I guess he lost his boots. Oh, he had to throw his boots to the bear. I forgot about the bear. What a badass bear. You need a good bear actor in your arsenal. I don't know any bear actors. I wish I did. I said I do have two pets. I don't have a pet Instagram account or anything like that. I don't have a fun, cool thing like that for my pet. Oh, beautiful crane shot of Hill Valley here as it comes over top. There's all the horses. What growth. We're in 1885. Like I said, 100 years back from 1985. There's Honest Joe Statler. So that's a callback to Statler Toyota in the first one. So that 4x4 truck that you see pull by in the very first Back to the Future, that's the black truck that Marty ends up with at the end. That's from Statler Toyota. So nice little signage joke there. Real quick, go into the production before I get back to Sandy's movies over here, because I will go to Sandy. This was filmed, and a lot of people know this, but this was filmed at the same time as Back to the Future 2. And a lot of movies do this nowadays where they're like, hey, if we need our actors to look relatively the same age at the same time, like this might happen with the Beatles movies that are potentially going to come out by Sam Mendes, is that, hey, let's shoot them all concurrently here. That way we can get everyone's coverage and everybody's scenes that we need when they're all relatively the same age or within 2 to 5 years at least, so that it's not an entire franchise release worth of filming for everyone here. All right, sorry. The clock tower just now getting built. Got to freak Marty out. There's the marshal's office. Gone to Hayesville for hanging of Stinky Lomax. Good name, Stinky Lomax. I like it. I don't know anyone whose nickname. Oh, there's a Wells Fargo sign in the back, and there's Marty who jumps into some manure. All right, cool. So yeah, Marty's in the Old West. I'm glad I'm not in the Old West. I'm really glad Glenn Close was a pirate in Hook. I worked at Toys R Us when Hook came out. Unsold Hook toys everywhere. Oh man. See, like that, I don't doubt at all. Like I can't imagine what a bomb Hook legitimately was, because I didn't even want to watch it. Like I said, it was just on VHS, and this was what, 1991? I've got the Hook IMDb still up over here. I think it was 91. Where is it? Yeah, 1991. I was so young. We were just forced to watch it. And so you identify with it because you kind of know the basic story. Okay, general trivia. Sorry, my Amazon gives me trivia here. The name on the manure wagon in 1885 reads A. Jones. In Back to the Future, the name on the manure truck from 1955 read D. Jones. Oh, all right. Okay, this was filmed in Jamestown, California. General trivia here, the train station. Oh, sorry, give me my trivia back. Oh, I already lost it. It took me away. Oh, yeah. Oh, good for Amazon. It gives you different trivia about each scene, but it will take you away right there. Interesting. That's a lot of trivia. I got to watch this through and take some more notes on this. That's my bad for not hanging out on the desktop version. So sorry, I'm on my desktop version of Amazon. Typically, I'll watch on my TV, and I don't ever like push in on the mouse to get all this stuff. But man, you watch on Amazon on desktop and you just hover over the screen. It is paragraphs and paragraphs of connections. This scene here in the bar references the outlaw Josie Wales. The scene when Marty goes into the bar is something of an homage to outlaw Josie Wales. Actor Matt Clark plays the bartender in both movies. Okay, so the bartender in this scene of Back to the Future 3 is also the bartender in the outlaw Josie Wales. Okay. And of course, Marty is portraying the character Clint Eastwood right now. ask for water to the drink or ask for water to drink, and the bartender says they only serve whiskey. In Josie Wales, Clint Eastwood first asks for whiskey to drink, and the bar tells him they don't have any whiskey. All right. So yeah, interesting trivia there from Amazon. Thanks a bunch. Good job. Beyond that, like I said, Hook, unsold toys. Let me go back to that real quick. I don't doubt it. I said Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell barely even registered that was Julia Roberts, and they did nothing with that character to merchandise it. Like Tinkerbell should have been so much more, and I was kind of turned on by the Tinkerbell performance, even as a 6-year-old. I know that's odd to say, but it was an oddly weird relationship with Robin Williams in that film, and yeah, it's not a movie I've revisited. I have not sat down my kids and been like, you got to see Hook, because I watched it a bunch as a kid. Oh, shit, there's Mad Dog Tannen. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's making him dance. Make him dance, Mad Dog. Yeah. Sorry, I'm peeking. All right, I'm sorry. Thomas F. Wilson, the guy who plays Biff in all of these movies here. I got to tell you, as a kid and maybe even as an adult, I think Buford Mad Dog Tannen is maybe my favorite portrayal. Amazon knows everything about Back to the Future 3, but can't deliver products to the Amazon. Lame. I agree. What are they doing? They got to get their delivery routes up and spend less time on their AI trivia here. Yeah, any more trivia? No, it's still the same stuff. There's some Gene Autry stuff in here that I don't really feel like I want to read. Yeah, Marty moonwalks like Michael Jackson. Yeah, we all know that. All right, so we got a chase scene here now. So in both of the first two movies, this is typically around the point in Act 1 where the chase scene occurs around the town square. First one, it's on a skateboard that Marty essentially invents based off that little like box skateboard. Second one, it's with the hoverboard that he essentially grabs, and he uses the Mattel hoverboard. He doesn't use that cool ass Pitbull one like Biff does there. That's right, manure. Manure is incredible. I don't know if I've got my little Hot Wheel around here. I don't know where it is. I've got a Hot Wheel that's just Biff's car covered in manure. I don't even know why it exists and why it was sold. It's around here somewhere. I don't know. I'll find it at some point. All right, now Marty's getting dragged through the town square by a horse. So yeah, Marty can't effing play in the Wild West. Like neither could I. So Wild West, I would definitely die. Middle Ages, that's the one where I feel like, oh, I would be so fucked. Like, what the hell would I do in like the year 1100? Like, there's only so many court jester jobs to go around, and like, do they need accountants or anything? Like, there's no internet. Like, I'm not going to be William Shakespeare 500 years early. All right, so like I said, oh shit. Buford Mad Dog Tannen, he's got Marty, he's got him hanged. And then here comes the fucking Doc with a massive ass scope on a long ass rifle. And he says, "Oh shit!" He shoots Marty down. He says, "I got this gun locked at your head, Mad Dog Tannen." All right, here comes Mad Dog. Sorry, I'll narrate for a little while. I have no problem doing play by play. Okay. Oh, this is where the $80 comes in. So yeah, we skipped over that. The reason Marty came back to the Old West is because Doc's gonna die. Doc's only got about 7 days left. Quiet dog. Quiet dog. So yeah, apparently Mad Dog's pretty upset that his horse threw a shoe. And Doc was the blacksmith who reshoed him. Sorry, blacksmith who reshoed the horse. Apparently, Biff didn't pay the $80 anyway, but he still wants the shoe back or the money for the shoe. So it seems like everybody feels like they owe each other everywhere. Biff is being irrational. He did not pay to have his horse reshoed. Then his horse threw a shoe after Doc threw it. Okay, sorry. Doc's scolding Marty now. Marty, I told you not to come back here. See, I think Doc basically said, like, hey, I'm alive and well. I'm doing exactly Middle Ages. That thing, what the hell would I do? Like, I feel like I have a weird recurring dream where I think I just like pushed a rock around or like pushed a wheelbarrow full of like hops around. And that's all I did in the Middle Ages. And then somebody just like whipped me or something like that. And then I died at like, I don't know, 22. You ever feel like that where you get those weird dreams about past lives? I feel like I was alive in the Middle Ages and it sucked. Okay. So yeah, when they were at the gravesite, Marty took a picture. And so it shows Doc's death date here. And it says he's been buried by his beloved Clara. So at this point in time, Doc doesn't know who Clara is. And bring out your dead. That's right. Some more Monty Python references here. Love it. The 1885 time setting was partly due to a suggestion by Michael J. Fox, who had commented to producers how he always thought it would be fun to act in a Western. Bullshit. They all wanted to do Westerns, and they wanted to give Doc his own movie. Like the last two movies have been fully Marty movies and time travel movies. I don't think it was because Michael J. Fox wanted to do a Western. I think Bob Gale, Robert Zemeckis, I think everyone involved kind of wanted to do a Western. All right, so now there's been an introduction of Clara Clayton. Apparently somebody, I think maybe the mayor or something, just came over to Emmett and said, hey, a new teacher's in town. We need you to show her around. Her name is Clara Clayton. Marty, it's impossible. The idea that I could fall in love at first sight is romantic nonsense. That's not scientific at all. So Marty's a horn dog, and he's got no problem feeling up chicks, as we've seen with Jennifer, and he was checking out chicks in the first one. But Doc, we've never seen him hook up to date. And like I told you in the last one, like I think they cut around it, but I think he's probably been hooking up with like loose winch women, like bar winches and stuff like that for the last 8 months. Because what the hell else is there to do in the old West? I mean, he's built some massive steam machines. Oh, that's right. I think he's making an ice maker. Yeah, there's some big giant steam machine he's got rocking now. And what's going to come out of it? A bowl is one ice cube. Yeah, one ice cube. So he's figured that out. Iced tea. All right. Look at that for Doc Brown. Marty, iced tea. He loves it. All right. So Clara Clayton, played by Mary Steenburgen. Of course, Doc Brown, played by Christopher Lloyd. Now, before we move on too far, let's go to 28 Days, the Sandra Bullock movie, because I do need to see who all's in that. Because I watched it so much when I was probably like 14 to 16. I fucking loved that movie, even though it was a weird, like, no, not 28 Days Later. I want the 2000 film. Exactly. So I had to have been 15. I was born in 85. So came out in 2000. It was a weird rehab film. I think I was going to a lot of church camp at the time. He's building the town clock. Okay, yeah, that's right. Doc probably is working on the town clock. Oh, there they go. Now they're trying to figure out how to get the DeLorean up to 88. They're pulling it with 6 horses. Doc should have known that would have never worked. All right, the cast for 28 Days. Holy F balls. So we got Sandy. We know we got Sandy Bullock up top. Viggo Mortensen as Eddie Boone. Elizabeth Perkins as Lily. Elizabeth Perkins, I know from Big for sure. She was in a bunch of other stuff, but Big is the one that immediately jumps to mind. Steve Buscemi, I kind of remember that now. I think I thought it was Steve Zahn. I think that's Forces of Nature, though, that has Sandra Bullock and Steve Zahn in it, if I'm not mistaken. Alan Tudyk, he's the guy in Dodgeball who plays the pirate. I'm pretty sure he's a great little character actor. Who else is in this thing? Mike O'Malley, star of the hit Nickelodeon show that I loved as a kid named Guts or Global Guts or whichever one you want to call it. But that's where people would bike around and then climb up that aggro crag. I think Mike O'Malley also did some sitcom stuff and was a writer for a while as well there. But I guess he was in that movie. Who else? Loudon Wainwright, the third as guitar guy. Marianne Jean-Baptiste. All right. Yeah, I have not thought about the movie 28 Days in a long time. I mean, Sandy was on top of the world in 2000, though. What year was Miss Congeniality? I mean, we all love Speed. But let's not fool ourselves here. That was also the year 2000. Holy fuck. Like, no wonder. That's the thing. Like, I was all into Sandra Bullock year 2000. 15-year-old me, I was like, I don't care. I'm watching Sandy films. Miss Congeniality, maybe one of Michael Caine's finest performances. He's the pageant consultant that has to take this FBI agent and turn her into I guess a pageant-worthy contestant. I forget what state she's from. She's not Miss Rhode Island. Miss Rhode Island is a hottie whose actress name I can't forget, or I can't remember right now. Man, I forget what state she's from, Miss Congeniality. What state is Sandra Bullock from? Hold on. I'm reading it. I'm reading the synopsis now. Oh, screw it. I'm just going to Google it. What state is Miss Congeniality from? Damn it. The story is set in New York City. She represents New Jersey as Gracie Lou Freebush. So again, I knew Rhode Island was her own separate entity because I was super into Rhode Island as a young lad. Sandy has no boobs. I don't disagree with this statement. I agree. I certainly like a more full-figured woman myself. I'm not as much of the athletic fit type. I mean, it's nothing wrong with fit or athletic by all means, but yes, when it comes to the northern hemisphere, there's nothing wrong with a little more heft to the volcanoes and mountainous regions that embody the northern hemisphere there. So, all right, where we are in Back to the Future 3, we're about 42 minutes in there. Clara can be seen behind Marty and Doc while looking at the map at the train station. Okay. Connections. This references Pale Rider. The train station. Oh, there goes my trivia again. Go all. Oh, no. Cast music trivia. Okay. Oh, so I can find all my trivia if I scroll all the way through here. Okay, weird. In scene. All right, I'll get used to this trivia stuff. So I guess they're referencing the film Pale Rider at some point here, which makes sense. Duh. So Pale Rider, also a Clint Eastwood film. Michael Moriarty, Carrie Snodgrass, and Chris Penn. Chris Penn? Good for Chris Penn. I had no idea Chris Penn was in Pale Rider. All right, so what we have going on now is I think this is the section. Okay, hold on. Rodeo MT breaking some news here. Middle school me had Sandy Bullock and Dominique Mosiano magazine photos all over my wall. What a time to be alive, the year 2000. I'll tell you what, man. Mosiano going hard. I definitely was hitting on, again, because I was in the 9th grade. And there was some girl from our school. Man, I can't remember her name, not at all. But she was from like Bosnia, Herzegovina, and she was definitely a transfer student. And I was just into her just because her name kind of reminded me of Dominique Mosiano. And she kind of looked a little bit like her. So I appreciate that deep cut reference there. All right. Clara Barton, Mary Steenburgen, who's married to Ted Danson, she was just flying down towards this ravine. She was flying down a hill on a horse and buggy that was out of control. And old Doc Brown races in to save her. So a common theme of this movie is that the only way women will fall in love with you is if you save them from something traumatic. Like old George McFly really had Mosiano was Romanian, damn right. She was Romanian. The Bosnia Herzegovina chick, I think she just kind of looked a little bit like her. I'm all down with Romanian gymnastics, whether it's Nadia, whether it's Mosiano, what have you, all in. Yeah, I can't remember that woman's name. I'll have to go look it up at some point. I'll remember. Can't do it right now. Okay, so there's Emmett dropping off Clara again. Yeah, like I said. So you have to save somebody's life, unless you're Marty. So it seems like Marty was able to pull Jennifer by just being good at guitar and moderately likable, which I applaud. That was kind of my strategy. Like it doesn't seem like Marty's the most popular guy in school by any means. It seems like he's just relatively likable and he plays guitar. And that was enough to get Jennifer. But everyone else in the film it seems like you have to save someone from a traumatic experience, because George McFly definitely had to save old Lorraine Baines at the time in 1955. He had to save her from a potential sexual assault, because Tom F. Wilson, old Biff there, he was definitely going pretty hard in 1955. I did watch that one pretty recently. And yeah, he was in the backseat there. And he was not putting on consensual moves. I will say it seemed like he was just getting pretty grabby in a way that was causing Lorraine Baines McFly's legs to fly up in a way that she was not pleased with. And then she had a look on her face that seemed to imply that she was being assaulted. And so then old George McFly, he took his fist with his left hand and he decked Biff and knocked everything out. And then he became rich, because that's what happens to you. If you punch out your bully, you become rich in the future and you become an author. Nadia Comaneci. I don't know Nadia's last name, actually. I watched the movie a bunch as a kid because my older sister, I think, liked that movie. I forget the name of her coach. I always say Bella Lugosi, but I think it's something Carosi. Man, and then I think of Saved by the Bell, so I get really lost really, really fast. So yeah, I used to watch the Nadia movie a bunch. Might have been a TV movie. Let's go, let's go look that up on IMDb. What the hell do I care? Nadia. Is there a movie named Nadia? Titles. Nadia from 1984. That's got to be it. Yeah, it was a TV movie. That's the thing. I was like, I don't even know that it was a real movie. Story about gymnast Nadia Comaneci from her childhood, beginning as a gymnast, and how she was discovered by Bella Caroli. There we go. Yeah, Rodeo M2. Yeah, you guys beat me to it there. Caroli. That's the thing. My brain's been poisoned by Saved by the Bell, where that guy who played Pumbaa was Mr. Carosi on Saved by the Bell. And then the Scientology lady who was on King of Queens, she was the other person on Saved by the Bell when they went to that like Sands Beach Resort or something. And that season was okay. It was fine. I seem to recall there being like a fancy Sweet 16 party and some other basic storylines that didn't really do much for me, but it got some new characters involved, so that was fun. I've not revisited that in a long time. I don't plan to. Saved by the Bell seems terrible.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
I played the wrong drop there. There's no breaking news. I apologize. Unless you want to talk about the breaking news from earlier where Nick Cannon had his balls insured for $10 million. Incredible breaking news. I applaud Nick Cannon. Quiet, dogs. I applaud Nick Cannon for taking the brave steps to have somebody insure his balls. All right, now back to the Future 3. All right, so we got Marty and Doc here inside their little warehouse thing. And now Clara has showed up. Caroli's gym was involved in the NASA scandal. Oh, no. That's the thing. I only watched the movie as a kid. I haven't kept up. That's the thing. I think I last saw the movie when I was 8 years old. Oh, God. NASA seems like a real creep. That's the thing. Now, I am a very cynical human. I trust no one in authority. I grew up in Catholic schools, so I got kicked out because I didn't trust them then either. So that does not surprise me at all. If Caroli was a super creep and was just terrible to those girls that he was teaching gymnastics to, wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I feel terrible for everyone involved because, yeah, a lot of those. I don't want to say a lot. I don't want to generalize. But I'll just say nothing surprises me anymore from certain institutions, whether it be NASA or certain religious institutions. And again, I'm not generalizing. I've just seen enough of it firsthand where you're like, man, none of that really surprises me anymore. Okay. Anachronism. There's a goof, apparently. When Doc Brown demonstrates the plan on the model of the railroad, the words point of no return are written on a book. That book is the Young Enfield Literary Reader, Book 4, which wasn't originally published until 1910. So we have a glaring goof. I hope somebody got their ass fired for that. How dare you write The Point of No Return on the Young and Field Literary Reader Book 4, which wasn't originally published until 1910. What the F do you think you're doing? It's 1885. Do you call yourself an art director? I call you a piece of garbage. That's what I call you. Get it right. All right, Saved by the Bell was my show growing up. Oh, me too, man. I loved Saved by the Bell so much. Tiffany Amber Thiessen still doesn't seem real. I think I follow her on Instagram. It doesn't seem real to me. I don't understand. Crowley had some controversial meal plans. I'll go back to Crowley in a minute. Let me talk about Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Oh, sorry. They're at the Clock Tower inaugural ceremony here, I guess, or christening, whatever this hell this thing is. There's Marty and Doc about to get their picture taken. Anyway, Saved by the Bell. Tiffany Amber Thiessen. If you have not seen the Ladies' Man movie, give it a watch. If for nothing else, the appearances of Tiffany Amber Thiessen. I don't know how she does it. She's maybe the perfect woman. Aside from my wife, of course. Wife is the perfect woman. Oh, fuck yeah, there's ZZ Top. Incredible. So ZZ Top, I think, wasn't supposed to be in the movie, but they just showed up and asked to be in it. I think they were supposed to do a song for it, but they definitely asked to be in it, or maybe just on the set on the day of. I can't remember. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. But yeah, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, still to this day, yeah, she is still hot now, maybe hotter than ever. And I'm not trying to be creepy or objectifying. She is just a gorgeous specimen of a human. I don't know how she is managed to be such a creature of desire for me since I was in 5th grade until now, where you're like, my goodness. Because, you know, some people you're like, hey, in the 90s, she looked great. And then as time goes on, they get weird surgery or they get into weird stuff where they just are for some reason less attractive. But whatever it is with Tiffany Amber Thiessen, there we go, Rodeo MT. She's still holding it together. All right. General trivia. According to the book, Billy Gibbons' Rock and Roll Gearhead, yeah, ZZ Top was just hanging around the set and was asked to be the town band. During one take, the camera broke. While waiting for the camera to be repaired, Michael J. Fox asked if they would play Hey Good Lookin', which they did. Afterwards, more requests were played. 2 hours later, some inquired if the camera had been repaired. Robert Zemeckis replied that it had been fixed rather quickly. He just liked the concert that was going on. So that's a lot of fun. Like ZZ Top's on set. Maybe they've got a few instruments there. If it's just guitar and bass, great. If you got a drum set and you got legitimate gear, awesome. But that's got to be cool. Just entertaining the set. Like that's a cool, like, like fun Friday kind of activity that's not a dumbass pizza party that your boss gives you. It's, hey, ZZ Top showed up and we're going to have some fun today. All right, now Doc's dancing with Clara here. And this dude's trying to give old Marty McFly a gun. Who is this actor? Burton Gilliam. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, it's the dude who plays the guy in Blazing Saddles, and he's from around these parts, right? Burton Gilliam. So he's the guy trying to sell Marty the Colt gun. Let's see here. Mary Steenburgen. I did mention that she's married to Ted Danson. She is an incredible. I would even say gilf at this point. I don't know Steenburgen's age. I'm about to look it up real quick. But whether it be Step Brothers or Elf or anything that she's in, she is outstanding. Like I said, I've been watching her since I was a kid. And I think this came out in 1990. I was 5 years old. So I've known her since as long as I was really conscious. But let's see. What year was she born here? Old Mary Steenburgen. Let's see. Mary Steenburgen age. Give me that. Oh, no. Don't give me that. Don't give me all that crap. I just want Mary Steenburgen's age. Is that so? 71 years old? Still a smoke show. I don't care who you are. Wasn't he the Westway Ford guy? Yes. I think he was the Westway Ford guy. Tiffany Amber Thiessen is my Valerie Bertinelli. Bertinelli's a smoke show too. Even when I was a young lad, she was older than my type, but I knew she had it going on. And yes, I think he was the Westway Ford guy. Or actually, I don't know. Who's Joe Westway? Who was the guy with the big sunglasses with the dollar signs in them? Joe Dollar Sign or whatever, or Joe Money. Somebody knows. I don't know. But Joe Dollar Sign, I had that guy's autograph at some point. And maybe that was him too, but I don't know. All right, so now who we get here is we get James Tolkien, the guy who plays the principal in the first one and the second one here. He comes back as the town sheriff, shoves what I believe is a shotgun. I apologize. I don't really know anything about guns. Don't rob me. But I believe he shoves a shotgun in this guy's face here, or Buford Tannen's face. And Buford just scurries away. He tells his kid, "That's why you got to be about discipline, son. That's what our family's all about. Discipline." Sorry, I'm reading text. All right, yeah. So that's a funny little callback. It's because obviously he's going to be the principal in the first one. The second one, he gets into a shootout with like some gangs that drive by after Marty goes in there, and he's done a few DFW car commercials. That thing, I was like, I know Burton Gilliam's done some stuff. I don't know if he was Joe Westway, but he's definitely done a bunch of DFW car commercials for sure. He's around. Like I hear stories where like, that guy was at my kid's baseball game because his grandson was there. You're like, all right, awesome. So I know he's around town, or at least he used to be. I don't know if he lives here anymore. Is he alive? Is Burton? I don't want to. Let me make sure I'm not breaking news here. I think he's okay. I think he's still alive. Hold on. He's still alive. Breaking news. He is still alive. He was born in Joe Greed. There we go. Joe Greed. I was like, it's not Joe Dollar Sign. Joe Greed. And then, yes, Burton is alive. Yeah, he is 85 years old, born in 1938 in Dallas, Texas. Look at that. Good for him. Oh, snap. Sorry, Doc Brown is getting a gun put in his back by Buford Mad Dog Tannen here. Oh, snap. He's going to shoot him right in the back there and says he'll be dead by Monday at supper time. All right. Let's see what we got going here.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Great question there. How tall is Burton Gilliam? It appears here he is 5'11". Also, Doc was just dancing with Mary Steenburgen, old Clara Clayton here, and Biff cut in. Very similar to the cackling guy in the first movie who just cuts in with Lorraine there after old George has punched him out. And he just starts like cackling like a madman. I believe it's a redheaded dude who kind of looks like the Shermanator from the American Pie films. But now Biff, no, he cuts in and he smacks Clara. He knocks her ass down. Hold on, sorry, this is tense. I damn you. Oh, so he's about to get shot. There, Marty grabs the Frisbee plate, the pie plate, throws it. Oh, knocks the gun out of Buford's hand. Or sorry, doesn't knock it out of his hand, but tells him to lighten up, jerk. But yeah, the Frisbee knocks it to where Doc's hat just flies straight off. Yeah, he threw a pie plate at him. Oh, Marty just wants him to leave his friends alone. Oh, what's wrong with you, you yella? What's that? God, I love Buford Mad Dog Tannen. What a freaking incredible performance from Thomas F. Wilson. Again, the original Biff, outstanding. Griff, not near as good. Old Biff, really damn strong. I kind of like Old Biff a lot. But Mad Dog Tannen, God, that's good. Like the way his face just, as he's able to just like drop the side of his cheeks and just like kind of look dumb almost. And it's a real town because he's very tight in the first ones. When it's 1955, he has a very taut, very tight, like almost like Forrest Gump kind of look almost. But you get him in 1855 and he looks weathered. So I don't know if that's makeup or if that's just the way he's just kind of like dropping the muscles in his cheek there, but it looks outstanding. All right, so I guess now they're scheduling I do my killing after breakfast. So there's a bunch of scheduling about when a shootout will occur. That's good. Always good to schedule the shootout. Oh, there's the sheriff. Just a little personal matter between him and Eastwood. No trouble at all, Sheriff. I'm just going to shoot this guy in a couple days. No big deal, Sheriff. It's perfectly legal as long as we agree to shoot each other. All right, the sheriff's ready to party. He says, hey, this is a party. Let's have some fun. Okay. So ZZ Top spins their instruments and kicks back up. Incredible. All right. Any other crazy? Yeah. So Marty uses a frisbee. Yeah, we got that piece of trivia. Connections references My Darling Clementine. Folks dance on a building foundation when the tune My Darling Clementine is performed. So yeah, I probably need a lot more film knowledge. The more I learn about film, the more I learn that I probably need to watch like the last 100 years of film. Like I've seen some big boys, but I don't think that I'd be able to pick up casual references to like a musical My Darling Clementine that might have been filmed in like the 1950s or something. I got to do better on my film knowledge here. All right. All right, so now people are trying to give Marty a gun because you got to give him a gun. So they're going to show him out. Yes, there's Burton Gilliam again. I want everybody to know that it was a cult peacemaker that shot Biff Tannen. And of course, you understand that if you lose, I'm taking it back. So yeah, it's a win-win for old Burton Gilliam here, car dealer man. He says, hey, I'm going to give you this cult peacemaker, pacemaker, whatever it was there. And if you shoot the guy and win, looks great for me. If you lose, I'll just take the gun back. All right, now here comes Seamus, who is played by Marty McFly, is for some reason married to Leah Thompson, which makes no real logical sense because in the last two movies, they have been mother and son, Leah Thompson and Marty McFly. But for some reason, when he went back 100 years, the man playing Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox playing Seamus McFly, is now somehow married to someone who looks like Leah Thompson. That's fine. If you're just if you've got a type, if your whole family has a type, I get it. I wouldn't fault my great-grandfather for marrying someone who looked like Tiffany Amber Thiessen. I know I tried to do the absolute damn same. And I think I succeeded. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to brag. But so I wouldn't have any issue with it. If I went back and was like, man, your wife 100 years ago looks an awful lot like some chick that I'm into as well. All right, fine. The mother-son thing is what gets weird about it. That's where the casting just mismatches. But they couldn't get Crispin Glover. So real quick, we'll go down that road. So Crispin Glover, he plays George McFly in the first one. He sued the shit out of Steven Spielberg and other people on the second one. Because apparently he was not a lot of fun to work with on the first one. And so the stories differ from who you ask over the years, apparently, is that Crispin Glover will say that he was offered a lowball amount to come back for the second one, and so he didn't want to do it. And then other times he'll say that no, he didn't want to come back and do the second one because philosophically he did not agree with the ending of the first one, which essentially kind of conveyed that if you're rich, your life is better off, which is a kind of reductive way to approach the ending of Back to the Future. But I understand maybe why he would want to undo that in the second one. Regardless, he was not allowed back in the second one. Family trees don't fork in the 1800s. That's right. There is a lot of scissoring, but not a lot of family tree forking. So Crispin Glover was not invited back for the second one. But I guess they did have, Bob Gale, Robert Zemeckis, and the production crew did have some like face molds of him from the first one. Crispin Glover definitely got banned from Letterman for crazy behavior. I have not watched that in a long time. I think he like kicked him in the face or like did some wild kick, but he definitely got kicked off of Letterman. But Yeah, so they had face molds of them, so they were able to like use these face molds on another actor, and I forget the name of the other actor, but they also flipped that other actor upside down. So in Back to the Future 2, I guess either Gale or Zemeckis at some point had read that it's harder to match people's faces, like for you to recognize people's faces if they're inverted. So that's why in the second one, you see Lorraine make a joke about how George threw his back out and then he kind of flies in upside down. And that was all very intentional because I guess they were using a different actor there and kind of skirting around the fact that, hey, Crispin Glover's not going to agree to this and we don't want him back. And we kind of need this character in the movie somehow. So in this one, there was no representation in the Old West, at least, of Glover. I think at the very end, there might be some type of representation of Crispin Glover, but it's very, very minimal and probably by the book or had been cleared. But the second one, no. He sued Bob Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg and made a decent amount of money. And he was also a weird performer in the first one. So yeah, it's been a while since I've gone in and read what people specifically said about him. I know when watching the film, I don't have a particular problem with his performance in the first one. It's a weird performance, but I don't have an issue with it. I think it actually kind of works for the film. So the second one, obviously, there's nothing to compare it to because it's just another dude kind of portraying him. All right, back to the third one here. There's Doc. He was funny in Hot Tub Time Machine. Shit. What did he do in Hot Tub Time Machine? I saw that in theaters and I have not revisited. So I would imagine he just showed up back when they went back to the 80s, or maybe he was an ancillary character in the 2010s when that movie was released. But man, I have not seen that movie since it came out. I need to go watch that one again. Great White Buffalo. Any trivia on this scene? References sudden impact. Marty looks in the mirror and says, "Go ahead, make my day." All right. Yeah, that's a reference. All right. That guy that lost his arm. Yeah, he was the guy that lost his arm. Okay. I got to go back and watch Hot Tub Time Machine because that is a time travel movie. So I get why they would get Crispin Glover there. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, I do like the Undertaker here. So the guy that walks out and starts taking Marty's measurements for his coffin, badass bit. Because that's a good business model too. If you're like, hey, you're going to be dead in a couple days, so I'm just going to go ahead and get your measurements now, start building you a coffin, and then I'm going to bill you or your estate. That way they pay me for your coffin. Or I'm going to build the city because they need a place to bury their dead. Sorry. Good little business model there from the Undertaker. Oh, hold on. Doc just revealed some shit. He said you got to stop with the chicken stuff. That's exactly what causes you to get into that accident in the future. What is wrong with my future? Marty says. Marty, we all have to make decisions that affect the course of our lives. You've got to do what you've got to do. And I got to do what I got to do. So that's essentially the Goodwill Hunting Doc telling him, I got to go see about a girl. And him trying to tell Marty, hey, don't be a fucking dumbass when people call you a GD chicken, man. Like, just let it go. Move on. It's not a big deal. And that's pretty much the only character journey there is for Marty. That's been a common flaw of these films, is that in the first one, the movie is just a lot of stuff happening to Marty where he doesn't really grow at all. It's really more George McFly's story. The third one, it's really more Doc Brown's story, but Marty has to learn this lesson throughout the course of the film that, hey, if somebody calls you a chicken, just fucking let it go, dude. It's not that big of a deal, man. Certainly don't get your ass shot over it. And clearly Doc knows that other bad crap will happen. But despite that, let's go back to number 2 for a second. Marty, painted as a loser for not making it in music. Granted, his guitar playing does suck when he pulls it out in that one scene. And he gets fired from his job and he makes some shady dealings. That all is pretty loser behavior. Not making it in music, that's kind of the norm. I'll tell you, I don't feel that bad about that. I think a lot of people set out to make it in music and don't necessarily make it. No big deal there. That's fine. Can live with that. They mentioned the car accident a little bit. Seems like that impacted his ability to play music, but didn't impact his ability to get a job. Now it seems like he just had a job. He was not the owner of any company. So whereas like Biff in that particular timeline, at least, or any of the 1985 timelines, at least owned either like an auto detail, or sorry, 2015 timelines, at least owned like an auto detailing company or a casino. So maybe that's all you could perceive it as, is that Marty never owned his own business. Okay, I don't think that necessarily makes you a loser. Like I said, he got to work with Flea. That's pretty fucking cool. I wish I got to work with Flea. My supervisor isn't Flea. My supervisor is a lacrosse guy from the Northeast. Have you ever had to deal with lacrosse guys from the Northeast? It's absolutely terrible. They'll tell you, no shit. They're like, yeah, you've got a great lacrosse team in DFW. I'm like, what the F are you talking about? We don't have lacrosse in Dallas. He's like, yeah, you do. Over in Fort Worth or something. I'm like, what? I mean, I'll look it up. Good God. Let's see. Yeah, the Panther City Lacrosse Club, a professional lacrosse team. The Back to the Future 2 Biff was based on Donald Trump. That is 100% correct. It was. But anyways, yeah, I work for a Northeast lacrosse guy. The carriage carrying the DeLorean to the railroad track was fitted with square steel tubes, not available in 1885. So some more goofs there about how the DeLorean was just transported. So yeah, the Donald Trump Back to the Future 2. It's one of those things that like it jumps out as obvious once you know it, but it almost seems like it would have been a joke had somebody told me that in 2015, because Back to the Future 2 takes place in 2015, which we've long now surpassed. But if somebody had told me that years ago, I would have been like, okay, yeah, that's a joke. That's funny. I mean, granted, yeah, he's a casino owner, but then as you've seen Trump age and as you've seen his actions, more and more you're just like, man, I'm not even going to equate everything with Biff with everything with Trump. It's just that general like greasiness and sliminess in terms of like character traits. So again, I'm not going to get into anything political. I don't give two shits. But the like greasiness and sliminess that Thomas Wilson conveys there when he's that 1985 rich Biff is so damn good. The costuming on the big sideburns, the like robe that they have him in, especially when he's in the hot tub. I guess he's not in a robe at that point, but when he's in the hot tub with his two bitches there, he just looks like the biggest creeper. So I love that he's come out and said that he based that on Trump, especially because it was 1989. So you're basing it off like an extrapolation of what you think someone would be in the future. So that's kind of why I don't mind talking about it. It's not anything particularly divisive for 2024 or 2016 or whatever the hell. It was a 1989 portrayal of somebody from 2015, or how they might be in 2015. All right. Steenburgen and Christopher Lloyd having an intense scene right now. Steenburgen just slapped him. I've heard some whoppers in my day, but the fact that you'd expect me to entertain that is so insulting and degrading. So I'm pretty sure this is where Doc Brown just told her that he is from the future and that he invented a time machine. Ballsy move. It's the truth. I'm not going to lie. Telling somebody you invented a time machine, it's going to sound like you're just trying to get underneath their skirt. And those are long skirts in the 1800s. So I'm sure she was very protective with whatever she was holding there. So he throws down his little boutonniere that says Clara on it. She's crying. She's devastated. Yeah, because I guess he's got to go back. I guess that's what he was telling her. I'm sorry. It's been a little bit since I've watched this. He had to tell her, and maybe he even offered for her to come with him. I can't recall. But he probably had to say that, hey, I've got to go back because I don't belong here. I don't belong in 1885, but I want you to come with me. And I'm sure that's where she was done. All right, so now in the Back to the Future trilogy, the present date is October 26, 1985. Yeah. All right, yeah, I don't care about that trivia. All right, so we got Doc Brown back in the bar. People I haven't talked about yet, the bar flies. It never works because I tried it a few times with no success. Yeah, the time traveler thing, it's like going off to war the next day. If you're like, hey, baby, we have to hook up tonight because I have to go back to the future tomorrow. Or like they're shipping me off to Nam tomorrow, baby. I have to hook up with you tonight. I would imagine it doesn't convert as much as you would want. So sorry, back to the bar. We have not talked about the bar flies. There were 3 bar flies that were hanging around Doc Brown earlier, and they're incredible. I think they were talking about running for fun. They were talking about, they haven't gotten to the yellow part. I was like, everybody will call you Yeller for the rest of your days. Sorry, it's my bad Western voice right now. But I love the bar flies. Where people that have no agenda other than to just go to the bar and drink and make comments on what other people are doing. I'm sure they still exist. I'm sure they exist probably now more than ever, actually. I just don't go out to the bar scene that much. But in the 1880s, incredible to think about.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right. That is it. All right. So now we're getting to our final scenes here. We're deep into Act 3. Okay. So Buford and everybody else is waking up. They're getting ready for the shootout. Okay. We have motorized carriages and automobiles. Okay. So yeah, here's Doc Brown talking to the barflies. Does anybody walk or run anymore? Of course we run, but for recreation, for fun. Run for fun? What the hell kind of fun is that? Incredible. Like, I love the barfly scene where Emmett just sounds like a crazy old kook from the future who's just lecturing them about what's going to be happening later on. But these barflies, they can't accept it. And run for fun is incredible. How much has he had? There's the bartender. None. That's the first one. He hasn't touched it yet. So I love the fact that, yeah, Doc Brown's just so devastated by the loss of Clara here that he went to the bar, ordered a drink, but has just been holding it all night. I've lost her, Marty. There's nothing left for me here. Oh, Marty said you got to come back to the future. Right. Let's get going. All right, he's about to take a shot. All right, they're going to catch a train. Here's to you, blacksmith. All right, he's going to take a shot. Emmett, no! Here he goes. He's about to fall over. One of the best scenes in the film. There goes face first into a table. That's it. I remember this shit cracking me up so much when I was a kid. The fact that you could take one shot of whiskey from the 1800s and just fall face first into a table and just the whole table spills over. It's like, how was the table set up? Was it really just a board sitting on top of a platform? Like, was nothing nailed in or screwed in at all? Because it was a big fear of mine growing up that, hey, if you like leaned on a table, the whole thing would collapse. But that's not how tables work in the modern era. All right, so now we've got Steenburgen back. Oh, she's taking a one-way ticket. On a one-way ticket. Is that a Leanne Rimes song? What's One-Way Ticket? God, I hate that my brain just sang that. One-Way Ticket country song. Because I can. By Leanne fucking Rimes. I nailed it. I forgot about that song until just now. Isn't it weird how your brain will do that stuff where you hear the words one-way ticket and then a song from what year is this? 1996 will pop into your brain. Okay, hold on. Now they're about to pour some stuff into Doc Brown's throat. I don't know what it is. It looks chunky, though. It looks chunky and brown, and they put it down like a funnel, like you would pour oil into your car. Leanne Rhymes. That's right. Rodeo MT 52 nailed it. Damn right. There goes Doc. He goes out and I think he dunks his head into a horse trough. Heads Carolina, tails California. Is that Jody Messina? I heard them talking about that on old Ben Skin the other day. I think that's Jody Messina. Oh gosh, this shot right here where the train comes up and Steenburgen is standing next to it and there's this steam shooting out of it. That is a remarkable shot. I know it's nothing fancy. It's just a static shot with the camera down low and the train coming in. It, it's just gorgeously cinematic. Like, I don't know. It doesn't look I don't know. Like it looks like a painting. I don't know what it is. It's a beautiful shot right there. That stuck with me since I was a kid. I don't know what it is. I think it's because of how still Steenburgen is with the train coming in and how the camera move does absolutely nothing. And then that steam kind of does all the action there coming in. It's just a beautiful shot. All right. And Jody, not Jody or Jody. That's right. And we got an I think there. Yeah, old Jody Messina. I've actually heard a weird techno version of Heads Carolina, Tails California, and it slapped. It was upbeat and it was banging. All right, now Buford Mad Dog Tannen's out here. Let's settle this once and for all, Runt. I like calling people Runt. That's a fun name. Everyone go like and subscribe. That's right. I haven't gained any new subscribers in a while, which doesn't bother me. That's another thing you'll learn about me the more I go. I don't know that I'm one, any good at this, or two, care about being a legitimate brand. I just kind of enjoy doing it. So subscribing to it would be great. Marketing it, I think that's where I'll probably need somebody else to help me or take over because I have the lowest self-esteem and don't feel the need to market this at all. Because I'm like, why would anybody watch this other than if you're like me and maybe just like I said, looking for stuff to listen to. And the reason I'm able to do a bunch today is because my kids are out of town. My wife works a bunch because she's a chef, she's a chef, so she works nights all the time. So when kids are out, it's quiet out there. It's just dogs, so I can do some more of these streams. Okay, Buford Mad Dog Tannen's up to 4. He's counting to 10. If you don't go out there, he'll be a branded yeller. Okay, there's Marty. Yeah, what if I don't go out there? You're a coward. You'll be branded a coward for the rest of your days. God, that's a great delivery. Everyone will say Clint Eastwood is the biggest yellow belly in the West. What a delivery. And I didn't even come close to doing it as well as that guy. All right, so this dude slides a gun down the bar to him, similar to how George McFly gets the chocolate milk in the first one. I don't know if that was a direct parallel to it. But then you see Marty look at other Marty who's portraying Seamus, which is still a technological marvel in 1990. Like, I know we can do all this shit now, but this stuff did blow my mind when I was a 5-6-year-old kid. And thank you again, Rodeo MT, for everyone. Go like and subscribe. I'll keep that up there. I said that's 10, you gutless yellow pie slinger. He's an asshole. Sorry. That's one thing I have not talked about. Michael J. Fox, like, I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can recreate that guy's energy. Like, he is so perfectly affable in a sitcom way with this series that works so well. Like, I don't think there's anybody now that's even come up in that sitcom realm that would be able to convey it the same way. Like, he's got this effervescence and lightness to him that makes all of these scenes just seem, I said, so breezy is what I'll say. Like, he's an asshole. Like, the guy's somebody's threatening to murder the guy. And just the way like, the line on the script is just, he's an asshole. And without Michael J. Fox, that line does not stick in your head at all. He is so damn good in this era. And I loved him on Spin City. I hate that he's not in as much stuff anymore, obviously for medical reasons, but I said when I was a kid and he was on Spin City, I loved it to pieces, and that's about the oldest I was where he was in a legitimate role that I could grasp. This stuff to me, he was just like a hero, and he was in a bunch of other stuff. Like Life with Mikey was one that connected with me a bunch when I was a young guy. All right, so now Doc's about to get killed. You got 1 minute to decide. You hear me, Runt? I also do like that they call him Runt.
Tavares, right in the butt?
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so now Clara Clayton is on a train headed out of town, and she hears two gentlemen behind her talking about how they were just next to a guy at a bar who was just all torn up over this breakup. And so she asks him, "Hey, was this guy, does he have white stringy hair?" And so she pulls the emergency brake on a train. I don't know if those things work. This movie taught me that the little things work. I think on buses, if you pull them, they just like ding and tell the driver that you need to get off at the next stop. Light of Day was a good MJF movie. I have not seen Light of Day. I watched Secret of Success and Doc Hollywood a bunch when I was a kid. Light of Day, man, I don't even remember what that one's about. And this is probably my naivete, not you. What year was Light of Day? 87. Oh, and it's a Paul Schrader. Okay. All right. In. All right. So 1987, Gina Rowlands, Joan Jett, Michael McKean in. If you tell me Michael McKean's in anything, I'm in. All down. All right. Okay, cool. I'm in on that. And then, yeah, Paul Schrader film. Nice. Like I said, let's go look at Paul Schrader's directorial film here. He's in a bunch of random stuff. All right, nice. All right, I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, I said Secret of My Success and Doc Hollywood were big when I was a kid. I had to watch a bunch of those. Yeah, I said Paul Schrader wrote Raging Bull. That's the thing. I was like, that dude's a big dude. He's been around. Okay, so they just did the shootout here with Joan Jett, not comedy, more dramatic. So there's Buford Tannen and Thomas Wilson. The way he just like kind of dangles this gun after he thinks he shot Marty in such a cavalier way. It's beautiful. The hubris of this guy. I said, just kind of dangle this thing slightly, like almost like a cigarette hanging out of your lip, like in the Ghostbusters or something like that. When you see Aykroyd with that cigarette hanging down. Oh, so there's Marty. He's got the bulletproof vest on, but Biff doesn't know it. Or sorry, Mad Dog here. Sorry. He goes for the punch after Marty kicks the gun out of his hand. Hell yeah. Marty's got what appears to be like a stovetop like front or something like that, like a kettle front. And he drops it. And then here's the punch out. See, this is where I think it gets pretty unbelievable. I don't know that Michael J. Fox could punch out Thomas J. Wilson. Thomas J. Wilson's a damn tank, man. He's tall. What's Thomas J. Wilson's height? What's Tom Wilson height? 6 foot. Oh, no, sorry. That's a hockey player. Thomas Wilson actor. I was like 6'4". Jesus Christ. 6'2". So he is tall. A tall drink of water, if you will, if you're into that kind of gentleman. So Tom Wilson is 6'2". Michael J. Fox. I think Buford's going to jail. 5'4". 8-inch height difference between these two here. All right, so there they go. Buford's posse has gone running away. Old Buford Mad Dog has been knocked into a cart of manure here. And what does he have to say? Manure. I hate manure. Great callback. All right, so then we go to the photo of Here Lies Clint Eastwood, which used to be Here Lies Dr. Emmett Brown. So here's the biggest plot hole in the movie. You'll hear people talk about this. After they've gotten Buford Tannen arrested, and after there's no more fear of a shootout, there's no more timeline. There's no more clock at this point. So technically, yes, the train is there, And Clara potentially might go to find that train. But technically, there's no reason for them to leave right now. There is no more pressing matter. They could wait for the next train in a few days. So this is a tiny bit of a plot hole right here where they're going to rush and go find this train to get out of town now. But they kind of don't need to. All right, so here's Clara running back into town. She actually just missed Emmett. She runs back to Emmett's barn here. Okay, so yeah, she wouldn't have gone to the train anyway. Silver mine, start here. So yeah, she sees his little time machine kind of mock up here that he's got the little diagrams. So here goes Marty and Doc here. They're gonna ride their horses up to the train. And so we're nearing the end of the franchise. This is a big moment. I can tell you as a kid, this is a big deal because you're like, all right, we're at a minute 30, 27 minutes left with credits. So not much more left in this entire MF franchise. And you start to realize there's not going to be any more time travel. This is just going to be them getting back to the future, the legitimate, or not even back to the present of 1985. There goes Doc. He hops on the back of the train. Here comes Marty next. You got to love that. I always do like that Doc's more seasoned and experienced at this kind of stuff because he's been in the Old West for longer. So even though Marty's more seasoned in the ways of love and typically able to show Doc around, Doc just dominates him in the Old West here. Where he's like, yeah, man, you got to ride your horse this way. Oh, shit. There goes Clara. Clearly a stunt woman on that horse. There goes Steenburgen. As a badass action sequence. It's entertaining nonetheless. That's the, even as a 6-year-old kid, I loved this franchise, and even watching it now, it's a clean Western. It's very Disney. It's very like I said, it's very sanitized from a Western standpoint. But the shots are great. Zemeckis is doing a great job here. I think so. You go to the overhead shot, you see Doc Brown and Marty kind of climbing across these logs on this train here. And again, those are probably stunt guys for the wide shot there. Now they got the masks up, so that definitely helps for the stunt acting there. All right, so then I got to climb over this big boxcar of firewood. Oh, okay, that's right. I guess that's how they power stuff. Or is it coal powered or wood powered on this train? Okay, so now they're going to stick up the train driver, the conductor. Train drivers are called conductors, right? I'm pretty sure that's correct. All right, so they get the conductor to stop. It's been a little bit. I'm trying to figure out their plan here, too, and I've been talking. So they got to change the tracks. So there's Marty. He changes the tracks over. So they're going over to the track that's going to run off, basically, the one towards the ravine that isn't finished yet. They unhitch.
Tavares, right in the butt.
What?
No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so they unhinge just the front part of the train. What's the front part of the train called? Train engine? I know the back part's called the caboose, and I know the middle part's called the boxcars. Okay, so they push up, and the DeLorean's already waiting there. It's called the engine. Thank you, David Martin. I think it's called the engine. My kids used to watch a bunch of Chuggington and a bunch of Thomas the Train Engine, so I felt like that was right. Okay, so anachronism. In 1885, the train engineer is wearing a traditional striped hat. This type of hat was invented by George Cromer in 1906. Bunch of effing idiots. God, these guys act like they can get something right, and they don't even know that the striped hat wasn't invented until 1906, and you put it on some 1885 guy like an idiot? Jesus. All right. Apparently, the steam locomotive in this wasn't built until 1891 either. God! Grew up on the legend of Casey Jones. Casey Jones is confusing to me because I know he's a train engineer, but he's also a character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Casey Jones is the guy with the hockey stick and the mask in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that then they don't bring back. But then there was the Grateful Dead song about Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. driving that train high on cocaine. So I knew that Casey Jones was a train driver, but I don't know how that relates to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Casey Jones. I don't know, but I know those are two different Casey Jones. All right, there's Steenburgen. She's caught up with the train engine here. For approximately 3 weeks, Zemeckis would fly to Los Angeles after his day's filming of the train climax to approve the sound dub that Bob Gale had been supervising of Back to the Future Part 2. He would then get up at 4:30 a.m. the next day to fly back to Northern California to continue filming with the train set. Damn. All right. So yeah, now they're pushing the DeLorean, and the plan here is to push it towards this ravine, and they have enough of a like straightaway. There's a Disney Casey Jones clip too. Nice. There's enough of a straightaway where I guess they can get the heat up high enough where they can get it to 88 miles an hour. All right, here's Steenburgen. She's now on the back of the train. There's a giant explosion. Steenburgen goes flying. She's straight up in the air. Incredible shot there of her straight up. I'm sure it was all done with harnesses, but still. All right, they're up to 35 miles an hour. Pretty damn fast for the 1800s. I don't think anything was going 35 miles an hour back then. So they got to get this mother effer up to 88. So I don't know what they're throwing in there. I'm not a scientist. I think it's like, I don't know, like compressed heat pellets or something that explodes or causes an explosion and causes temperatures to rise, because the smoke is turning all green now. It looks like the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, the yellow log's about to blow. They've got a great little clock there. So we've got two clocks running on our movie here. There's one clock. The ravine is going to catch up with us. The track is going to end. We're going to go into a ravine if we don't get up to 88 miles an hour. The second one is we've got to hit these little milestones associated with each of the temperatures. So if you get it hot enough in this train engine, then it'll go faster, supposedly. So two cool little things visually that you can kind of keep track of, that, you know, like, hey, we're going to run out of track here in a minute, and we've got to keep hitting these temperature milestones. All right, Steenburgen is right behind Christopher Lloyd here. And by the way, Christopher Lloyd doing a hell of a job. So yeah, he's trying to climb into the DeLorean because he's trying to go back to 1985. And then we got Steenburgen in the train engine right now. They're up to 50 miles an hour. Incredible shots. So then she starts honking the horn. Brilliant. She's a smart gal. I said, that's a wonderful shot. Sorry, I haven't watched this in a while. The way Christopher Lloyd's face lights up there at the end. I said, that's just brilliant. As if Steenburgen hasn't been in the series up till now, so their chemistry very, very strong together. So yeah, the way his face lights up when she says, I love you. Outstanding stuff. I'm getting choked up in the moment. It's tough stuff. I said, it's more Lloyd's an incredible actor. All right, so yeah, he's got to get old Steenburgen out on the side here. So she's climbing out. We got the wood behind her. I don't know what our miles per hour is at or our temperature. The last we saw, it was about 50 miles an hour. So we're about to hit a new temperature level that's going to come into play in a minute. And they're going to have to kick it up. Yeah, they're at 59. Okay, back to that clock there for the miles per hour. 60 miles per hour. We're about halfway through our temperature gauge. So we're a few seconds away from our temperature gauge blowing into another kind of like... Wonderful tension, up to 70 miles an hour. Lloyd going for Clara here. I don't know how they shot this. I should have done more research. Is there anything here? For approximately 3 weeks. Yeah, no, same trivia there. That's it. I don't know what they did with the train, because certainly there's not a train running all the time. So this has to be screens behind them that are capturing the motion. But I said a lot of it looks really damn practical. Some of it looks extremely fake. Like anytime Clara Mary Steenburgen is, falling down next to the train, that obviously looks like some computer generated stuff. But a lot of it looks freaking practical as hell when you look at the train flying by. Yeah, I don't know how they shot this particular sequence, but train sequences they've probably been doing for a long time on studio sets, so I'm sure they were able to set it up. I don't know though. Okay, so now we get the reveal of the hoverboard. You only see the hoverboard at the very beginning of the movie. Very beginning, I think you see Marty like kicking his feet up on the hoverboard or something. So they don't whip it out in the Old West. Oh, there goes Marty. Track ends a quarter mile. Marty's got to pull his head back in. So he's got this hoverboard. Little by little, we see Mary Steenburgen's dress kind of ripping here. She's about to fall head first into the ground as Christopher Lloyd's about to fall off. And Marty, old Michael J. Fox here, drops the hoverboard. It looks very CG in that section, unfortunately, but it's a fucking hoverboard. What do you expect? There's no way to practical that. We're getting to the end of the track here. We're about to blow through. And remember, yeah, there's no time clock where Doc's about to die. Like Mad Dog Tannen's been arrested. His crew and posse's all been locked up. So there goes Doc Brown. He grabs Clara Clayton on the hoverboard there, old Mary Steenburgen, and they fly off to the side. Looks really tacky and cheesy there, but hey, it's 1990. Give them what you can. Here goes Marty towards the end of the track. We can start seeing the time travel sequence engaging. So we go through. We get our line of fire here. The train blows through the end of the track. Okay, so this had to all be practical. They had to have fucking dropped the train into a ravine. That's badass. So there was an on-fire train that just goes off these tracks, and it wasn't a long distance. It looks like maybe that's 100 feet or something like that, so 10 stories or so. The explosion looks fake as shit, but they did definitely drop a train into somewhere. That's awesome. I mean, I can't confirm definitely. I wasn't there when they did it, but that looked pretty damn real. That looked like a wide shot of a train going off of a bunch of tracks. All right, so then we get our first sign that the future has changed in Eastwood Ravine. It's no longer Clayton Ravine, named after a teacher who died. It is now named after one Clint Eastwood, who presumably died in that ravine at some point in time. But there goes Marty McFly in his 1985 way, cruising through the train tracks. Oh, the vehicles were all miniatures? Thank you, Rodeo MT52. That makes far more sense that the vehicles were miniature there. I know they use miniatures for towns a lot. Makes a lot of sense for the vehicles there, for trains especially. Because, yeah, it looked outstanding. I was like, they had to drop it off of something. I was like, there's no way in 1990 that this is all computer animated and stuff. So, looked great. Miniatures, the perfect way to do it there. I only worked on a few film sets where there were miniatures, and I was mainly a sound guy, so I rarely got to look at dailies. I would see finished product and barely know how stuff was cut together. I was always a boom operator when I was on sets, and that was ages ago. Another lifetime. All right, so now the DeLorean was back in 1985. A train came through, a real deal train came through and destroyed the MF and DeLorean, which is exactly what Doc wanted. And I know there's people who have done some clocking on like how many DeLoreans there are at one time in one place, because technically, like that 1885 DeLorean would sit there forever if nobody touched it. So at any point in time, there might be 2 or 3 DeLoreans on any given timeline at certain years, but that's where Back to the Future gets all weird with how they play with time travel. All right, so Marty runs back to his house. We're back in 1985. There's old Biff, 1985 Biff, in a new jumpsuit. So he's got a maroon jumpsuit with a white stripe across it there. I think he was in a green jumpsuit last time we saw him. Here comes Marty's brother Dave, who worked at a Burger King in the first one, but now appears to work in an office, similar to part 2 and to part 1. There's Lorraine. And then, okay, so there's a Crispin Glover representation in the back, but he does not come into frame at any point here. He's way in the back, no lines, giant sunglasses. It more just looks like a dude. All right, Biff's all into Marty. Really love that hat, Marty. He loves the cowboy look. All right, so Marty's back in 1985. He runs back over to his girlfriend that he's ditched for 2 movies in a row. So at the beginning of Back to the Future 2, him and Doc essentially just like neuralize her with like some sleep agent kind of, like light activation device. And they just ditch her in the trash. And then she wakes up after the police take her back to her home. And then she just passes out again. So then they just leave her on a porch in 1985. And then they really don't even address it in this movie until just now. And now this is Elizabeth Shue sleeping on a porch. And now Marty McFly, after a week in 1885, just walks up and makes out with her. And she's all into it. I had the worst nightmare. All right, so now they're out cruising in Marty's 4x4 badass Toyota that he wanted from Statler Toyota in the beginning. So there they are. All right, they're right next to Hilldale, a suburban area that in 1985 is a nice area. In 2015, maybe not so much. Marty, Hilldale. Hilldale, this is where we live. I mean, this is where we're going to live someday. That's the thing. Doc effed these kids up, man. Like, showing them that much about their future, even at this point, effed them up. But I take it back. Hold on. This is the lesson we're about to learn. So here comes a group of dudes in a truck, and one of them's Flea, old Needles himself there. There he is, wearing a badass leather jacket. I don't know who all else is in the car with him. Amazon, you going to give me anything here on who else is in the car? Nope. On my hover, nothing. What's the matter, McFly? Chicken? A terrible character flaw to write in for somebody is that they can't get over being called a chicken. All right, so they're challenging each other to a street race. Flea is all amped up. They're at a red light here. Marty's revving his engine. One of the guys in the back is holding a Pepsi. Good for him. Good for Pepsi. All right, Flea and his crew takes off. Marty speeds off in reverse and does a bitchin' 180, then turns around with Jennifer. Did you do that on purpose? Yeah, you think I'm stupid enough to race that asshole? And then there's the Rolls Royce that speeds out. Incredible. So essentially, that's what Doc was trying to warn Marty about, and some stuff that you saw allusions to in the second on the second film too, that hey, if Marty had ruined his life with this Rolls Royce accident, then he'd never make it as a musician. I'm going to go on record and say that I don't think Marty's ever going to make it as a musician. I think Marty's probably going to end up working an office job, but that's okay. I think he's going to be all right. No offense, Marty's just a standard white guy. This is 1990, and he's 20. Unless he went hardcore grunge, based on what I've seen him play, he plays a lot of like hard rock Van Halen material. So by 1994, he's going to be a dinosaur anyway if he's trying to make it in music. He's going to have to adapt and evolve. So I don't know. Maybe he should get into design. He's a pretty affable guy. Seems like a smart cat. He's seen a lot of the future. So that's where I'd say maybe design, maybe something like that, like visionary tech more so than musician. But we'll see. All right, now we get the ELB train that flies back in. Marty and Jennifer are back at the train tracks where a terrible accident had occurred earlier, but no police are now in sight. Perhaps a job in SEO. No, SEO is the worst thing you can ever do. We're what makes the internet worse. I only have this job because they keep paying me to do it. That's pretty much the only reason I still consider myself an SEO. And even when people ask me what I do, I don't tell them that's what I do. I just kind of say marketing. I'm like, I don't know. I do digital marketing and stuff. I don't want to say I'm an SEO. It's a garbage industry. But for automotive, it's fine. All right. So then we get we get the kids. So Marty is greeted by Doc Brown and Mary Steenburgen. And so we get to see their kids, Jules and Vern. And so I've always heard that one of these kids is pointing at their crotch to tell their parents that they needed to use the restroom. I have not revisited this in several years, so I've been meaning to watch this. But apparently, one of these kids, I think it's the younger one, I think it's Vern. I think in one of these last shots, Vern is like pointing down to his crotch and saying, I need to use the restroom. And they just left it in editing. But Doc comes back with a nice gift there from Artie. It's a framed photo of that clock tower photo. So in the 1880s, they took a photo next to the clock tower before it went up. There's Elizabeth Shue, who did not have a lot to do in this movie. Elizabeth Shue barely did a thing, but she shows them the "you're fired" note. And this is where Doc goes all philosophical and is like, hey, well, the reason your fired note has disappeared is because the future is unwritten for everyone. So there goes the kids. Oh, I didn't see a kid pointing at his crotch. I must have missed it. Bummer. If it was there, I missed it. I apologize. I've always heard about it. Didn't catch it in that viewing. Bummer. But now here goes Dr. Emmett Brown flying off in his train. ELB. Sorry if my mic just popped there. Flying fucking train. God, that was so badass when I was a kid.
Morris, right in the butt.
There goes the whistle. It's blowing. Boom! And that's it. The end on the series. So, like I said, I watched the first one earlier this week to prepare for seeing the second one in theaters. Thought I was going to see the second one in theaters next week, and now we are at credits. Beautiful. Thought I was going to see the second one next week at Alamo Drafthouse. They shut all of them down, unfortunately. So, bummer. They shut all of them down in Dallas. Well, that was Back to the Future 3. Thanks for hanging out. 65 of you cats. I appreciate it, man. And thanks for commenting a bunch. If you haven't subscribed to this dumb stuff yet, I'm sure you have if you're watching on YouTube. But if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. I said my kids are out of town for another few days, so I'll probably do another couple of these. Next week, I'll get back into a more regular schedule and we'll figure something out. But hey, this was fun. This was a fun Friday night. So thanks a heap. Y'all have a good one. Kick ass. Later, cats.